Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving into some very heartfelt reflections on a truly influential figure, Sue Johnson.
Absolutely, this is a really important topic, right? We're talking about a woman whose work reshaped how we see connection in relationships.
Exactly. Sue Johnson wasn't just a scientist. She was like a bridge between the clinical and the poetic, using attachment theory to uncover the logic behind our emotions. She
Yeah.
really brought a new perspective.
I mean, it's fascinating to think about how she used empiricism to back up ideas that were so intuitive about love and connection.
Right, and what's striking is the way she treated relationship injuries, those attachment injuries that can really derail a couple's connection. She showed that if you understand and heal those wounds, you can truly, restore love. Truly transformative, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, and it's sort of like watching a really intricate, beautiful dance. She viewed couples in synchrony, sometimes calling it a dance that elevates intimacy and safety.
Well put. And then there's how she combined her role as a healer with that of a scientist. It's like, she wasn't satisfied with just a theory. She went back and tested her ideas, refining her emotionally focused approach, which really helped couples move past conflicts.
Yep.
The blend is, on one level, poetic, yet solidly grounded in research.
One thing that always struck me about her method was how she managed to articulate the nuances of our emotional lives in a very accessible way. But do you think this blend of intuition and empiricism ever raised concerns among other researchers?
That's a good question. I mean, there were debates. Some argued that using clinical intuition to guide scientific research could be a bit subjective, but she really challenged that by meticulously returning to the data. She showed that even those deeply felt experiences can be rigorously examined.
It's almost like she danced on the border between the subjective and the empirical, and in doing so, opened up new avenues for couples therapy.
Exactly. And think about the idea of attachment injuries. She demonstrated that many times a single regrettable incident could become a pivot for deeper work, and when healed could actually boost the effectiveness of therapy. It reframes conflict as an opportunity for growth.
Right. And in reflecting on her legacy, it's not just about treating problems, but also about appreciating, the deep, underlying connection couples share, and how that, if nurtured, can be incredibly resilient.
Absolutely. And what's more, she was part of this mutual admiration society with folks like Dr. John Gottman and Dr. Julie Gottman, who are iconoclasts in their own right within relationship research.
Yeah.
I love that aspect, where collaboration really shines in advancing our understanding of love.
It's really interesting to draw a parallel. While she was creating and testing theories around what makes relationships click, the Gottmans were busy building practical tools and training methods for clinicians worldwide. There's a natural synergy there.
It is. And it's fascinating because her insights were about more than just relationship dynamics. They tapped into some fundamental human needs for safety and connection. It almost reminds me of a well-choreographed dance where every move supports the other. I totally get that.
Let's touch on something that might seem a bit controversial. Some critics might say that her focus on attachment injuries places too much weight on a single event rather than a series of factors in a relationship. What's your take on that?
I see that point, but I think Sue's work actually acknowledged that while a key incident can be a catalyst, the overall pattern of a couple's dynamics still matters. It's like, one dramatic step in a dance does not define the entire performance.
Yeah.
She was nuanced in this.
That makes sense. It really underlines how, in relationships, even when faced with a critical moment, we retain the capacity to rebuild and reconnect.
Certainly. And what I really admire is how she balanced that scientific rigor with a genuine warmth. Her work wasn't just academic. It was lived and felt.
Right.
And that's perhaps why so many clinicians and couples still draw inspiration from her teachings today.
And speaking of that, it's also quite touching how the tribute was framed on the website. It's a beautiful blend of remembrance and celebration of a life dedicated to, improving interpersonal connections.
Yeah, it really is heartwarming. The language used was deeply personal, mentioning how much she was loved by her colleagues and how her insights moved many of them. To me, that shows the real-world impact of her legacy. That personal touch is so important.
And didn't she also participate in those deep discussions about the dance of love and synchrony in relationships? I recall that being highlighted as a key metaphor in visualizing how couples interact.
Exactly. And it's like, her vision was to see every interaction as, a coordinated rhythm, which when disrupted calls for repair rather than division. It's a pretty elegant way to think about conflict resolution. Very poetic.
It truly is. It seems that through her work, we learn that love is an ongoing dance, sometimes with missteps, but always with room for recovery and growth.
Precisely. And many of us can find comfort in knowing that even in the face of profound loss, like the passing of Sue Johnson, the impact of her work perseveres. Her legacy lives on in every stable, connected relationship.
I keep thinking about how her ideas are now the bedrock for many therapies that help couples transform conflict into connection, a sort of blueprint for turning hurt into healing.
And let's not forget, her influence also helped shape discussion in broader circles like the Gottman Method and other relationship programs that have reached thousands of couples around the globe.
That's a massive impact. It's like, while technology and the tools we use to navigate life keep evolving, remember that little note about updating your browser? The core human need for connection remains timeless.
Yeah, exactly. Amidst all the technical updates we see online, the real upgrade is in our emotional well-being. Sue's work reminds us that safe, secure attachment is fundamentally integral to our happiness. And it's a reminder that sometimes the most significant breakthroughs are not digital, but deeply human.
I wonder, how do you think her approach might be adapted for the challenges couples face today, with all the digital distractions and, new societal pressures?
That's an interesting debate. I'd argue that her emphasis on creating a safe emotional space goes beyond any era. Even now in our hyper-connected world, the fundamental need for attunement and genuine empathy remains unchanged, albeit perhaps more challenging to achieve.
Indeed. One could say that the complexities of our modern lives make her methods even more vital. It's like, despite the noise, the heartbeat of connection still demands our attention.
Exactly. And it's refreshing to think that her legacy continues to inspire not only therapists but also everyday couples striving for deeper connection. It almost feels like she left us a manual for living in relational harmony. Indeed, a manual for healing and intimate growth.
And to wrap it up, while we all feel the loss of such a luminary, it's uplifting to see that her ideas, her dance of love, continue to guide so many relationships towards safety and connection.
Absolutely. Her memory lives on in every couple who embarks on the journey of healing and connection, serving as a beacon of hope and understanding. And that's something truly worth celebrating.
Agreed. Here's to Sue Johnson, a pioneer whose legacy, will forever shape the way we view love and healing in our relationships.
Thank you for joining in this heartfelt discussion. Let's all remember that while technology might need regular updates, our capacity to update our inner connection is constant and ever evolving.
Absolutely.
Cheers to that.